Well, the new year is coming. And what I'm going to promise you is in the next 26 minutes, I'm going to show you how to develop the very best New Year's resolution that you've ever had. And so, one of the things that I do want you to know is that New Year's resolutions fail. Have any of you had a New Year's resolution that ever failed? Absolutely. Have you ever started strong and somehow in the middle of the year, it just fizzled out? Well, what I'm going to tell you is I've been where you've been. I've done what you've done. I failed like you have failed. But in the last 5 years, I have been really working on being my best at creating habits that work. And so, what I'm going to promise you is this. In this next 26 minutes, I'm going to give you a jam packed overview of what it takes to have a great resolution. But what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to do it to where you change it for just this year. I am going to actually bring something to you that will change what you do for the rest of your life. That's my promise to you because it has changed my life. And I'm going to also give you some tools so that you can start building your New Year's resolution right now. And December is the time to start thinking about that. But before I do that, I want to help you understand resolutions and why they fail. And so let's just jump into the work and let's see what we can learn about New Year's resolutions. So, the first thing you got to understand is that New Year's resolutions fail in 72 hours. The vast majority of people, they make a commitment and they fail in 3 days. And that is a very startling statistic. But what I want to also show you is that there's a date that you need to put on your calendar that's super duper important. That date is January the 19th. And you need to put this on your calendar for yourself. But I believe if you're a school leader, you need to put this on your calendar for your school. And the reason why is that it's about 80 to 90% of New Year's resolutions are gone. And that's why the gyms are full in January and the Mexican restaurants are full in February. It's because of January the 19th. And so I don't want that to be the situation for you. Now, in my experience, one of the things that I've learned is the reason why people fail by January 19th is that they don't understand the difference between hacks and habits. New Year's resolutions fail because everybody's trying to find a hack. And lots of things that you see online are hacks. They're quick fixes, they're shortcuts. And just write this down: shortcuts are a short path, but they're a long way to nowhere. In other words, you're not going to accomplish anything. It's a shortcut that leads to nowhere. What I want you to understand is that if you want to be the best, you've got to avoid the temptation of finding quick fixes and hacks. To change your life, you have to understand that many of you are here because you probably want to have a better life. But I would venture to say, if you're a lot like me, you're thinking, I want to also be better at my job. And what I want you to understand is that work-life balance is a lie. It doesn't happen. And if you don't develop the right resolution, you're not going to impact your personal life or your professional life. So what I want you to understand is that when we're developing the best New Year's resolution, you actually want something that's going to impact your personal life first, because when you positively impact your personal life, it's, guess what, going to positively impact your professional life. So as we're walking through this, many people say, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to be more organized, or I want to do this. I actually want you to go deeper. I want you to go deeper today. And what I would like you to start thinking about is I'd like you to start answering what I call the who, why, who questions. So let's start with the first who. Who do you want to be in 1 year? If you can't define it, you're not going to get there. And the reason why you have to define who you want to be is because you need to design, what am I going to look like 1 year from now? And what I tell people is that if you don't write this down, post it on the mirror in your bathroom, put it on your screensaver on your phone, it's not going to work. There's a book called Atomic Habits. If you jump to my website and look in my books, Atomic Habits talks about if you want to change your life and create habits that work, you have to make it visible. So you want to post your goal for this year, who you want to be in 1 year. Do not say, I want to be fit. You want to be something bigger than that. You need a compelling reason to change. And so you need to put that in place. The next question is, why do you want to be this way? And so if you don't have a compelling why, a reason for changing, you're never going to accomplish it. So when you design who you want to be, you need to also have that why along with it. Why do I want to be this way? I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good father. I want to be a good person. I want to be the best leader. Whatever that thing is, you've got to have a why that you want to do it. Now there's one more question. It's who. Who are you doing this for? And let me just go ahead and say this. If you're doing this for yourself, that is not the best reason why. Who is the person that you want to be better for? Do you want to be a better person for your personal children? Do you want to be a better person for maybe your spouse? Perhaps you haven't been really good at leadership this year. You want to be better for the people that you work with. And so when you develop your New Year's resolution, you have to have the who, why, who criteria on a sticky note, make a nice Canva of it, plaster it, put it on your wall, put it on your mirror, make it visible so you can be successful. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you about is this. Why do New Year's resolutions fail? It's because we're trying to fix the fruit. But the real issue is this. If you want to fix the fruit, you've got to get to the root. And the root of the problem is where we're going to get today. And before we get there, I'm going to give you a framework. And many of you have worked with me in this framework, but this framework that I'm bringing to you today is not about school improvement. This is about you improvement. So the thing that I'm going to bring in front of you today is actually the best framework. And when I'm working with someone and I'm talking to them, I can tell what their problem is by using this framework called the we factor. The we factor is the framework that I would put in front of you. And here's the reason why. You will not get better until you focus on building the people around you. When you start making everybody around you better, you are also making yourself better at the same time. So let's break it down. What is the we factor? The we factor is a framework that I use to help schools, and I'm going to use to help you today. The W stands for work, and let me just define it for you. The work is building better people, building a better me, building a better group of people I work with, building a better family. You got to think when you're building yourself to be better, you also got to be thinking about who are the people I want to be building better around me. Now, the second part to that we factor is called the endeavors. Now, what are endeavors? Endeavors are the tasks we perform each and every day in our work of building better people. So when I am doing my lesson planning, I should be doing it with the goal of building better people. When I am doing my email to my staff, I should do it with the goal of how can I do this to build better people in the school I work with. When I am doing the activity of spending time with my children, I am not spending time with my children. I'm spending time with my children to make them better people. Does that make sense? So the endeavors are always coming back to the W. And if you look at this, you'll notice that the E cannot exist without the W. So if you're knocking at work, but you're not making better people, you're not doing a good endeavor. So let's break down the we factor. The first part of the we factor is at the very center of it. And when I talk about the very first thing that you have to focus on to build a better we, it starts with me. Write this down. We starts with me. If I want to be a great leader, if I want to be a great spouse, if I want to be a great father, it starts with me. If I want my children to be great, it's a direct reflection of me. And if I'm not a good me, then guess what? We're not going to be a good we. So what are the components of me? Now write this down. Me equals my example. And there are a couple of things that I think are real important to build a great me. The very first thing that I want you to think about is if you want to be successful at your we, it starts with building your mind. And your mind is where you win and lose on your resolution. Your mind is where you win and lose in your work. Your mind is where you win and lose in relationships. Everything that falls apart is because it fell apart in your mind first. If you have a doubt in your mind, it's going to affect your work. If you are full of excuses, it's going to affect your work. And so here's the solution. You ready? Write this down. If you want to have the best mind situation, you have to win it in the first hour of the day. I did it this morning to get ready for you. The first hour of the day must be dedicated to building positivity in your mind, because positivity is contagious and negativity is even more contagious. So you have to win in your mind. The second thing in your me is about your body. And what I will tell you is this, write this down. The better your body, the better your life. When you don't feel good, guess what? It negatively impacts everybody around you. When I am sick, we are not going to have a good day because I don't feel good. And if you're out of shape or you have low energy or you're always exhausted, here's the solution. Write it down. 20 minutes at 120 beats per minute. If you are not dedicating time for taking care of your body will not take care of you, and your body will not take care of we. Make sense? The third asset, which is extremely important, is called your family. And what I will tell you as a 30-year leader, I failed my family a lot. And would you like to know why? Because I put work first and I put family second. If you want to win in life, your family has to always be first, and you should never apologize for putting your family first. It is not selfish to put your family first. But the world that we work in conditions us to believe if you're not sacrificing your family, you are not being a good employee or a good leader. That is a lie. And what I'm going to tell you is if your family is not taken care of, it will negatively impact your work. And so the solution is this. We're not finding time for family. We are making it. We are scheduling it. We are booking it. And you have to book in that 1 hour a day where you're going to spend time with your family. Now, the final thing that you want to be working on in your work is called organization. Organization is the success of your organization. Your organization or lack thereof is going to dictate the organization or lack thereof in your school. And so if you want to be successful in your work, it starts with me. And write this down. Taking care of me is not selfish. Taking care of me is not selfish. It is actually a selfless act for everybody around you. When you are prioritizing me first, it is not selfish. It impacts everybody around you. Now, some of you, this is where you need to start. Some of you, you've got it going on. It's not a big deal. But here's the next thing. If you want to be successful when it comes to your mind, your body, your family, your organization, here's the resolution you've got to make. Write this down. It's called time and frequency. Time and frequency. You schedule appointments for ARD meetings. You schedule appointments for PLC. You've got to schedule appointments for your mind, your body, your family, and your organization. If you don't make time for those four things, you're not going to be successful at anything you do. Let's jump to the next thing. The second part that I'm going to discuss is not part two. I'm actually saving part two for last. I'm going to get to part three. Part three is called unity. And building unity with your followers is what we're trying to accomplish. And so let me break it down for you. When we're talking about unity, what is unity? And unity is creating oneness in purpose. In other words, building unity with your teachers, building unity with your students, building unity with your parents, building unity with other leaders in the district, in the school that you work with. This is the number one thing. And what I will tell you is yesterday when I was presenting down in Beaumont, I said, this is the very first thing you've got to do. If you want a successful school, you've got to build a common purpose and unity around that purpose. We are here to grow children. That is our number one purpose. And so if you don't unite people around a common purpose, then guess what? The endeavors are not going to take care of themselves. So I'm going to ask you to consider this. I want you to reflect for just a second. Who are you struggling right now with in building unity? Are you struggling in building unity with teachers? Some of you are. Do you have a lot of students that are shutting down, quitting, giving up, and your school does not have unity with them? You don't have unity with them. That may be what you want to work on. Maybe there are parents that are very frustrated with you and they're putting you on blast on Facebook and just firing out things. This is what you need to work on. And so the resolution you've got to make is you don't build unity by building unity. You build unity with communication. Communication is the reason why you don't have unity with these people. Now let's jump to the next thing. The next thing would be the first endeavor. And the first endeavor is called structure. And when you have a structure problem, what you really have is you have a student misbehavior problem. And when you break it down, there are 3 reasons why you have a student misbehavior problem. You either have major behaviors that you need to do something massive about. You've got lots of fighting, things of that nature. Maybe you have minor behavior problems. The kids aren't fighting and things like that, but they're constantly in trouble. You're getting constant referrals. It's just a lot of yang, a lot of nitpicky stuff. Or maybe the issue is you have wonderful behavior, but the behaviors in the classroom aren't supporting learning. Let me go ahead and tell you something. Learning behaviors are more devastating to your success as a school than major behaviors. So I'm just going to tell you right now, you can have perfect behavior for no referrals and not getting results because of minor behaviors. So what's the resolution? The resolution is we've got to have routines that turn every minute into a win it. Every minute has to turn into a win it. So let's jump to number 5. Number 5 is called culture. And when we're talking about culture, the purpose of culture is to put spirit into everybody. When people are fired up, you have a very vibrant culture. But really what I see a lot of people struggling with right now is apathy. A lot of apathetic kids, apathetic teachers, apathetic parents, apathetic people. When people are absent of spirit, they are apathetic. So how do you turn apathy into excitement for learning? You ready? You got to have goals in your school where people are chasing +10, where everybody knows we are going to increase by 2 letter grades on our accountability, where we are understanding that the goal is, I don't care if you pass, I care if you grow. And I want to see you jump from level 1 to level 2, level 3 to level 4. In Texas, we're trying to jump from approaches to meets and meets to masters. So the thing of it is that you've got to have goals, and look at the first 2 letters of goal, G-O. Write this down. You can't go without a goal. Perhaps what you need is B2B learning, and that's called bell-to-bell learning. If you want to see students fired up and eliminate apathy from your school, you need kids where they are busting their tail from bell to bell. Maybe that's your problem. And maybe the last problem that you're having in your endeavor has to do with number 6. Write down the word strategy. You don't have strong strategies. You're basically hitting at a lot of things. You're going and getting a lot of things, but you're not getting results. In other words, what you're seeing right now is you're seeing a lot of low scores. Kids are flatline. Kids are regressing. They're not making the biggest gains. Perhaps you have scores that are so high right now that you're like, there's no way this kid can be making a 90 on the test. There's something not right about our data. And what I will tell you is the resolution is really simple. You need strong curriculum and rigor that yields data so that way you can have data responses by grade level, by teacher, by student, and by skill. And so what I want you to understand is that when it comes to this we factor, you got to know where you're struggling. You got to know, do I have a number 1 problem? Do I have a number 3 problem? Do I need to have a 4, 5, or 6 problem? But here's the thing that you really need. The thing that you really need is you need a number 2. A number 2 is, write this down, unity with your leaders. Unity with your leaders. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, okay? Put a lot of years in. And what I will tell you is that what I have found is that the years where I was really successful and really saw a lot of growth, I had a leader that I gave permission to invest in me. Now, this is in my work life. But what I'm going to tell you is, write this down. Everybody needs a coach. And I see several of my friends on here that I work with personally and have conversations with and help them grow professionally. But what I'm going to tell you personally is that if it were not for the leaders that I invested in as their follower, and I gave permission for them to invest in me, I would not be where I am today. And so I want you to start thinking about your New Year's resolution, okay, and what you want to accomplish. What I want you to understand is this, and listen closely. If you want to be successful, do a lot of work. But if you want to be the best in success, I want you to do the best work. And the best work is not more things. I want you to be more strategic, not more random. And a lot of people, when they start out the new year, they try so many things that they're not being successful. I'm going to tell you right now, you got to go back to this we factor framework. And here's what you've got to do. You've got to make your goal specific and tangible. It's aligned to your we factor. You need to make your goal accountable. In other words, every day, including this morning, I got on my document where I am personally tracking the goals that I have for myself. And here's the other thing. If you want to be successful, write this down. You got to get 1% better. And how do you get 1% better? You ready? Let's do the math. In a typical day, you're awake about 16 hours. Let's multiply. 16 times 60 is 960 minutes. Round it up, it's 1,000 minutes. What is 1% of 1,000 minutes? You ready? Write it down. 10 minutes. If you want to be really successful, I want you to identify 10 minutes where you can get better in the morning. Identify in the morning at work 1% where you can get better in the morning. Identify 1% in the afternoon that you can get better. Identify 1%, 10 minutes where you can get better on your way home. Identify 1%, 10 minutes where you can get better when you get home. Identify 1%, 10 minutes where you can get better before you go to sleep. If you will identify 10 blocks of 10 minutes throughout your day to get better, can I tell you what you're going to be? 10% better. See, the thing about resolutions, we make them too big. What we need to do is we need to turn them into 10-minute tangible targets. So I'm going to ask you this question. Do you want to be the best? Would you like to accelerate your resolution? Because here's the thing that we all need to know. No one accomplishes anything on their own. They always have someone who is investing in them, someone who is pouring in them and making them better. Now, to wrap up our time, get out your phones, get out your cell phone, hit that QR code, and I got a Google form for you. This is a Google Doc where you can use it to reflect, but it breaks down everything that we did today. I want you to take a picture of that, open that Google form, and I want you to fill it out. And by the way, it's going to ask you some questions. If you want to, visit with me and things like that, you can say no. I put it on there, very blunt. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But what I am going to tell you is this. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go with someone else. And what I want you to understand is I'm inviting you to jump into an opportunity to become the best leader you've ever been, the best person you've ever been, the best spouse you've ever been. And what we're doing is we're actually creating a spring leadership mastermind. And it's all about just being a better you. It's not about accountability. It's not about all that stuff. I've got those things. You can jump in that. But ultimately, I want you to be the best person you've ever been, the best leader you've ever been, the best spouse you've ever been. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a 5-month journey, January to May, and 1 hour a month. We're going to tear this apart and figure out how to help you find 10 minutes a week to get better. And that's really what our goal is. And so if this is for you, check it out. Now, I will say this. For some of you, you've already got something going. You've got a personal coach. Take it anyways and go to that personal coach and say, hey, I found out that I need to get better at this. Give that coach permission to do that. Give your leader permission to hold you accountable for that. Make your goal for 2026 known to all. And the final thing I'll say is we have tons of resources on our website. If you have not become a member, I want you to jump in and become a member. Every week I send out things. I send out reminders of things coming on, trainings we got, things of that nature, but I also have free resources. If you go to my website, create a free membership, Under the More button, there's this thing called the Leaders One-Stop Shop, and we get you all the things that you need to become better. So here's your assignment. Here's your homework to get started. When you get out of school, I want you to spend the next 2 weeks completely disconnected from the work. This is hard for me, and I'm saying this as an addict. Don't check your email, okay? But what I want you to do is I want you to disconnect from the work, and I want you to start practicing with your family. And I want you to really connect with them. I see a lot of threes in the room. If structure is a challenge for you, I want you to jump into my resources and check out the resources that I got. If you want to jump in and join our spring leadership webinar, where we're just going to help you become a better you, jump into that. But other than that, I just want to thank you for all that you do. You're an inspiration to everybody around the world. I've gotten to know several of you very well over the last couple of years. You're an inspiration to me. And I just hope that you guys have a wonderful Christmas break. And just remember the reason for the season: love people, and give them the best gift that you can give them, which is your presence, not your presents. Okay. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best. Good luck. God bless, and Merry Christmas.